So Scottie Upshall joins us. Scottie, so is this you built this in your new home? Is this a broadcast studio?
This is an elevator.
What?
Oh yeah, this is an elevator. This has all music lyrics that I picked. It's badass.
So wait, so is this an actual elevator you put in your house?
It is. I got a 3-story little beach house here, and I had this go in. It was something my architect was like, "Hey, you're gonna thank me when we put this in." And I'm like, "I need extra closet space." Blah blah blah. He's like, "Let me just tell you this: you're gonna want the elevator. Something's gonna happen. You're gonna like twist your ankle or fall down the stairs one day, and you're not gonna be able to get up and down this without this elevator. You'll thank me." So just so happens, my girlfriend who just delivered our baby 2 weeks ago, she's been on crutches with just a up hip.
Yeah.
She's been working this elevator like daily, just working it. So I turned it into a studio. She rides it up and down, and
So what happens when you're using it as a studio and she needs to use it?
I tell her just either just hang tight, pour yourself a drink, or take the stairs. Do the old one-legged hop up and down the stairs.
So Scottie, when we first met, I covered your team, the Fort McMurray Oil Barons. You're on the team in 2000 when they won the Royal Bank Cup. So when we first met, we probably met first in 1999. Did you ever think in the year 2020 that we'd be talking to each other on a podcast and you'd be sitting in an elevator?
Dan, I definitely did not. If I ever thought you and I would have traveled the world, seen what we've seen, done what we've done, said what we've said, it would be pretty mind blowing. And I'd be in this elevator with all these unbelievable lyrics that I've written here.
So
the only one that really doesn't make sense is "Like a Virgin," because I'm definitely not a virgin anymore.
Yes. Now I can't really see them, but Christoph said he can see like the Piano Man lyrics. What other songs did you put in there?
I got some Pearl Jam. I got some Coldplay. I got "Please Allow Me to Introduce Myself" by the Stones. I got some My Morning Jacket, which we talked about last time. Some My Morning Jacket. Yep. I know Jay was a big fan.
Yeah.
I got Neil Young. I got some Eagles.
And is that painted on there, or is that one big sticker?
This is painted.
Oh, wow.
So I actually, it's a local guy here in Newport Beach. He does painted decals on a bunch of restaurants, some clothing stores, a bunch of cool, like artsy streets. And I reached out to him on Instagram. I had this idea to do this in the elevator, and here we are. There's actually one by Aerosmith that's like making love in an elevator. Love me when I'm going up.
Have that in there.
Yeah, it's great. It's great.
So I mentioned a podcast. You just put out your first episode of Gone Missing, right? Your
Gone Missing.
And I have to admit, I listened to the entire thing today. I loved it. Your co-host Shane O'Brien. If anyone ever needs to hear a Canadian accent, you just need to listen to your podcast. He has the thickest Canadian accent on earth.
He does. He's got that Irish East Coaster in him. Although he's not from Newfoundland, I am.
Before he introduced himself, I thought it was Biz Nasty.
No, he's Shane O'Brien. He's a character. Him and Biz, you can put them in the same.
But they sound identical.
They do, and that's good because Biz sounds great. So if Obi sounds just like Biz, I think we're in the right market. But the best is if you ever catch Obi after 3 or 4 glasses of wine or Jack Daniels, if you ever catch him and Brad Richardson talking, Brad obviously scoring goals right now, still in the playoffs. But those two guys are from, just outside Kingston, I think Port Hope, Ontario. It's like, what the fuck are these guys talking about? Is it English? And it's hilarious down here. Obi's been in California and obviously played all over the U.S. and in Canada, Vancouver, Calgary. He has kept his Canadian accent strong, and he's proud to be that guy.
I found it hilarious that a kid from Port Hope, Ontario, and a guy from Fort McMurray, Alberta, are in Newport Beach, California, doing a podcast.
doing a podcast about missing curfew, something we were really good at and made a living at. And
your other host is Jimmy Hayes.
Jimmy Hayes. We needed a good East Coast guy. We all played together. It was something we talked about doing for a little while now. I was obviously still playing hockey. So was Jimmy. Obi did a podcast down here, Point Breakaway, with The Athletic this whole season, and enjoyed that. So it helps having Shane be the experience in the world of podcasts and stuff. So he really he's elevated his game for us. We've needed that, and we're looking forward to sharing some more stories with you guys.
So I don't know if you've gone back and listened, because you guys taped it before the first round of the playoffs started. So you taped it after the play-in, I think.
We did it. So it was a week ago today, tomorrow. Yeah.
And you predicted something. You said, I think the Bruins need the crowd. And then Tuukka Rask 2 days ago said it doesn't feel like playoff hockey. There's no crowd.
You know what? That was something I think is going across the league. I've talked to a few guys. It's different. I give them all credit. I've said this before, and so is a lot of people. I think Patrick Sharp mentioned it one night on NBC Sports. He basically, you touch on guys who've won and who've gone the distance, and the best thing about playoff hockey is enjoying the process, enjoying winning with your group of guys, enjoying the process after, sitting in the room, crushing beers, going for dinner, closing out a series in 6 games, knowing you got 4 days off, letting the body heal. You're not in a bubble. You're still playing for the Stanley Cup, but it's just completely different. You're jumping on the plane with the guys after. You're getting to share it with your girlfriends and your friends and your family. This is so different. So all these guys, you got to tip your cap to what they're doing, and you can't look at Tuukka Rask and what he's dealing with and look down at the guy or say, geez, if I was in that spot, I would do things differently, because you just don't know what it's like. And Boston, I mean, look at the quotes. They're behind them. They're all in it together, and we'll see how they do.
And the other thing you said, you felt bad for the Flyers players because they don't get to experience Montreal
and the women
during the playoffs. Yeah.
I mean, you've been to Montreal. I mean, it's that city has everything, especially actually it's midsummer. So you've been there for the F1 race. It's unbelievable. But springtime and playoff hockey there, when the snow's melting and everyone's got a good vibe of going to the Bell Center and leaving there and going to St. Catherine Street and having beers and enjoying that. I mean, in Philly, we were getting booed everywhere we went, but it just felt so good going into a city like that and playing well and beating their team.
But there must also be one aspect where you would have finished your first 2 home games or your first 2 road games, and you just have to walk to the hotel when you're in the bubble. You don't have to hop on a plane. You don't have to fly into a city at 2 a.m. There's got to be one part of these guys that say, oh, thank God we don't have to do that.
Yeah, I don't know. It's man, the part about being a pro hockey player isn't just the experience at the rink and in those games. It's the whole it's what behind the scenes is like. It's everything. It's sharing it with your family at that time of year, because the games are so important. And, other than not having to spend money on tickets for, for the 10, 12 people that want to come to every game, people texting you out of the blue, you haven't heard from them in 4 or 5 months. And all of a sudden they're flying across the country wanting 2 tickets to the game. But, it's just getting caught in a hotel. Hotels, they're broken records. It's tough to just sleep in these beds when you're at home with, right air conditioning, home cooked food. Now you're eating a Timbits and a taco truck in Edmonton. So it's tough, but you give the cities credit for what they've been able to do. The no cases of coronavirus throughout the league is as impressive as putting this bubble together. So hats off to everyone who's involved, because the hockey's been great on TV. I have to tell you that.
Imagine the browser histories of those laptops in that bubble right now.
Oh yeah, I'm sure the internet's that certain time at night when things get lonely, and you tell your roommate to get the hell out of the room because you need 20 minutes to yourself. That's gonna be.
They probably, some of them have probably reached the end of Pornhub. Like they've reached. No, you finish it. You completed it.
The rabbit hole and what you end up searching in these situations. I'm sure that would be actually a funny segment to talk about. How deep in the rabbit hole did you go on Pornhub, and where did you end up? And at what point did you just shut your computer off and be like, I cannot look at that anymore?
Or you say someone, how much would it take for you to hand over your computer to me right now? 5,000.
Not a chance. That stuff's locked up. That's put away in the safe.
Hey, have you talked to anyone in the bubble?
Yes, I have.
And
I FaceTimed a couple of the Blues the other day. They called me, showed them a little video of my new daughter Isabel on my shoulder.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Isabel is also the name of Jay's daughter.
Awesome. Awesome. And
Yeah.
congrats to you too. A couple
Thanks,
guys,
buddy.
a couple young ladies in our lives now. It's a beautiful thing. And so it's yeah, I was FaceTiming them. I caught O'Reilly, I caught Schwartzy, Schenner, Troy Brower, I'm like, geez, Browse, you're still rocking and rolling. It's pretty impressive. It was nice to see a guy my age still out there, throwing the body around, and nice to see them get a win last night. Big goal by Braden Shen. He steps up in those big situations. He's a beast, and that's why they paid him all that liquid dough. So he's, he stepped up. They needed a big win. Jake Allen played great, so I expect a good long series now out of that one.
And your buddy playing, he's standing on his head for Vancouver, Jacob Markstrom.
Yeah, Marky. I've been pumping his tires on Twitter. I love that kid. He's was in Sweden a couple years ago for Alex Steen's wedding, and he showed me around, showed me the ropes in Stockholm, which was payback for all the good times I was able to show him in Miami when we played together in Fort Lauderdale. So I'm happy to see Marky. I love the Canucks team. I love what they're doing. That's a good series. They got a good young squad with all their young guys playing well. Bo Horvat's been a beast, and like I say on my podcast, that Bo Horvat. So he's one hell of a player, and a guy that's taking that team and bringing them to another level.
Yeah, that series has been fun to watch. The only thing that pisses me off is when we have to work and it's at 10. They don't get started till 10:40. Then they go to overtime, and you're at work and you're like, God.
Are you still early bird? Are you still? What time are you getting up these days?
We go live at midnight, and then we got to wait for I didn't get home till 3 a.m. last night.
Yeah. Are you allowed to have any beers at work watching the games, or?
Oh, I wish.
Yeah.
That'd be great. I wish we were in a bubble there, because then we could. But we got to drive home. So yeah, all these late goals, and then the Blues had a late power play, and they couldn't do anything. Anyway, I like how the NBA, there's no game starting past 9:00 Eastern in the playoffs.
They got I hate comparing the NBA and the NHL. I like what the NHL is doing right now. And if you ask anyone watching sports, I think they're just like what NHL has done.
Hey, I'm just being selfish, Scotty. I'm being selfish because of those 10:40 start times.
Yeah. See, I get it's like Sunday football here for me. This on the West Coast and NFL Sunday where you get games from 9:30 right to about 8. Yeah, it's perfect.
If our studio was out in Vancouver, I'd have no problems with it. Hey, getting back to the bubble. So what did the guys say about the bubble?
For the ones that are getting beat up playing hockey, it's tough, but the heated matches, you look at the energy, they love it. I think the most of them would like to sneak away for a golf game or two. I think the weather is pretty nice.
But weren't they supposed to close down a golf course for them?
I thought so. And actually, a group of guys I play golf with up in Edmonton at Blackhawk, I know that they've offered, now that the teams are past this, 20-day quarantine and everyone's kind of safe and sound, you would expect things to get to loosen up a little bit. I would hope so. If Vegas had to win last night, for example, they could have 10 days off pretty much, 10 days off. You got to let these guys do something, live their lives. And now that no one has COVID, if they're being careful, I think going out and cracking a couple, nuggets around a golf course and drinking a few beers with each other, celebrating a first round win would be in the books.
What have they said about the security there? No guys.
If they've been sneaking babes up in the hotel, the single guys?
Yes.
I actually haven't got around to that, but if I was using my imagination, I'm sure the stairwells would have, you'd be using the stairwells, you'd be using, the back door, the windows. I don't know if you're sticking anyone in the laundry bins and trying to, did you hear about the NBA guy that?
Yes.
So good. What did he do? He dressed her up in a jersey and snuck her in. You got to give the guy some credit for that.
I've heard a rumor that in one of the bubbles that there's been some personnel change at the restaurants and bars inside the bubble.
Some of these girls are only human. Yeah. They're only human. You get all these guys in there everyone's human. Everyone's probably flirting with each other. I'm sure things are flowing.
They aren't going anywhere. The tips just must be through the roof.
Yeah. I'm sure the service is great too. I'm sure the food, the service, I'm sure it's first class. So I'm just glad if I was in the bubble and I was single, it would be, I would have some interesting ways of getting things done. Let's just say that.
Okay, so here's a question, because I heard another rumor that the NHL for the next round, or maybe a round after, they might look at bringing wives or girlfriends in. And then I was thinking, well, if they get there, then they're bored. What are they going to do all day inside the bubble?
Yeah, you would hope it's, I mean, if it's
I said conjugal visits.
If it's a mandatory quarantine, 14 days, which is what Canada's been doing, that's tough. Yeah, you don't want to bring. I think it's just you let these guys keep battling it out. If if in fact they do open it up where families can come in for a couple games for the weekend, but it's going to do no good. In fact, it would just be probably something that would be a hassle for most of the guys, a little bit of a distraction. I'm sure most of the team and the coaches and everything probably want to keep them away.
But what about conjugal visits?
Conjugal visits.
Yeah,
what the hell does conjugal mean?
That's a prison visit. So your spouse comes to visit you in prison, and you do your business for an hour or so, and then see ya.
I would be all in favor of that. I'm sure that's going on. We just don't hear about it. and it's sworn to secrecy because the government of Canada. I'm sure that they'd be ticked off with all these all these international people coming in and creating havoc in their hotels.
Yeah, well, you just have to put a trailer inside the bubble. Do a COVID test before you go in, COVID test when you leave, and you're good.
And Bob's your uncle.
Yeah. Hey, on your podcast, you're telling some funny stories about Ilya Bryzgalov.
Have you met him yet?
No.
I thought he was actually going to transition into a TSN job. The tri host, Jay, Dan, and Ilya.
Yeah, he sounds like he was a character.
He was. I had to sit beside him for the better part of my stint in Phoenix before he left, and it was nonstop. Actually, Obi has one of the best stories ever, where he explained going into Game 7 of the minors the first year he was playing in Cincinnati that Briz came in on the bus and he goes, "Boys, this ends tonight. Our season is ending tonight." And as your starting goalie, you just can't. I don't even know how to take a guy serious, but that becomes an issue. And he played his ass off for us, but it was more to get his money, and he did. He got paid in Philadelphia, but he didn't do much for Philly other than stargaze and talk about going to Mars and to the moon and back. And anyone that's ever played with Briz says he's one of the most interesting human beings there are. And
you said he kind of who gave it to him after one of the games because he was staring
Yandel.
at the bench? Yeah,
Yandel. He looked at our bench after letting in. We're up maybe 3-1 with 2 minutes left. The game should have been won, and San Jose scores 2 quick ones, and Briz starts looking at our bench clapping. He takes his glove off, and he's with his blocker, and he's looking at our bench clapping, and it didn't sit well with Shane Doan, and it was Keith Yandel who ended up smashing his stick right beside him and pretty much grabbing him, saying, "You do that again, we're going to kick your ass."
You've probably seen it all in your career in the NHL. Did you ever have guys, because I was a goalie when I played, and look at the size of me. I didn't stop a lot of pucks. So some games my defenseman would skate by and under their breath, stop a puck. And I'm like, oh, okay, sorry.
You were a goalie? Where, in Sudbury?
in Peterborough, Ontario.
It was Peterborough. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
I retired a Bantam Church League champion.
That's too bad with hair like that. I mean, it would have been nice to keep going. Good voice, good hair like that.
But look at that. I didn't fill any of the nets.
You could be doing the Kelly Rudy out the back with the blue bandana.
Exactly. I wanted his Islanders pads so bad. They were the first colored pads that were blue and orange. Oh.
Who was your favorite goalie growing up?
Patrick Waugh.
Mine was Billy Ranford.
Oh, king of the two-pad stack.
Hell yeah. Back in Alberta. That guy was a legend. He's still, what he's done in LA too with Johnny Quick. But Bill Ranford. And we all were Bill Ranford with the Road Warrior pads on back in the day.
Oh, there'd be a dump in. He'd two-pad stack it. So did you ever have any teammates that chirped your own goalies? You don't have to name them.
Yeah. No, we did. I actually had a goal. So I had a goalie in Nashville who had to, well, I'm not going to say names, but he had to jump in after a rookie dinner for two injured goalies. We had our starter get injured, Thomas Vokoun, and then Chris Mason out in warm-up slips and like hurts his groin. So we put in our first round pick, and he goes in and lets in a quick 7 goals in the first period against the Florida Panthers. And so we had Jamie Allison, a defenseman. We had him backing up. He was a healthy scratch that day, but Trotzy ended up putting the gear on him. And the Jumbotron in Florida had ISO-cam Jamie Allison on our bench. And the whole crowd was like, they knew what was going on. They were chanting like, put him in.
Yeah.
Put him in. And we stuck with just the 7 goal. We stuck with the goalie that we had. And unfortunately he's going to go down with the GAA, that the goals against average. That isn't pretty because he didn't play many games after that.
Hey, speaking of kind of a similar situation, you know the David Ayres game where he came in and played for the Carolina Hurricanes?
Of course.
Do you know a good friend of ours, that was his first ever trip to Toronto, got scalpers tickets to that game and went to that game. His first ever Leaf game was the David Ayres game. That man, Brian Hatfield.
It is Hatter? So yeah. Hatter was in town because I got there to do the trade deadline, obviously day, which was the second day after that. So Brian Hatfield, shout out to our newfie boy, Brian Hatfield. It was his first game in Toronto?
It was first time ever in Toronto. He was doing some visiting. I went for dinner with him. And he says, I think I'm going to go down, go to the game. And we're watching it at a bar and it's on mute. We're like, what the is going on? And then then the NHL shut down a week later.
So just, to touch on our relationship with Hatfield, this guy was Fort McMurray's pride and joy for charity work. He did Chris Phillips and I's golf tournament for 12 years. It was at Fort McMurray Oil Barons. Our junior led all the fundraisers for that. And you could not find this guy. You couldn't go to the Edmonton Rexall Center back when it was Rexall Center without having him in the dressing room. I'm like, how did you get in here? And whose sticks are those, by the way? He's like, I was shooting the shit with Tarasenko. He gave me a couple sticks, and and I mean, since I turned pro, so 15 years, he was just pretty much putting his skates on in the dressing room every time we go play the Oilers. I'm like, impressive.
And he was the loudest Oil Barons fan there was.
Yeah, he sure was.
He would chirp the other team mercilessly.
Tough barn to come in and play, especially when you had a radio guy like you.
Yeah, holy was that a tough barn. Oh, my God. I would have been terrified coming in there.
Yeah, those were the good days, wasn't it?
Oh, it was. So how's fatherhood?
It's beautiful. My baby girl she's a sweetheart, Isabel Rain. And it's been a handful. I've only been so it's been 2 weeks now. She turned 2 weeks yesterday, and she's only on me one time, which was when I had all my friends over. I legit was like, I had her in my lap. We were having a couple beers. We were just out on the patio, and next thing you know, I'm like, oh, she pooped. And then sure enough, I stand up, and it is all over my new shorts. I had these nice new golfing shorts that I had, and they were just covered in.
So she on you once. That's still 2 less than Shane O'Brien.
Yeah, it's the stuff that new parents deal with and encounter.
Yeah,
you could talk about that stuff for days, but yeah.
Well, you planned it perfect. A new baby's perfect to begin retirement with.
Yeah, I think I timed it pretty well. Pandemic and a tour overseas. Come home in February and lock yourself up, have a baby, do podcasts in your elevator, and.
Yeah, you finish before the pandemic, and then people aren't even talking about next year because next season, it might start in like December. So it's going to take 2 years to get everything back on track.
Yeah, and then what do you continue the seasons to do like January to September every year? I mean, that's kind of probably the economics of it, but we just, it'll be interesting to see the cup be given out and how everyone kind of relates to that this year. And then you just hope for the youth, for minor hockey and for youth sports and college sports. And, the entertaining value of society for kids we need our sports. We need our schools. We need our sports, and these kids need to interact and they need to get better. And we're, as an ex-athlete, I think we do what we can here to push the kids getting back in whatever way they can.
Well, at least down in the States, they've handled the outbreak pretty good. Oh, holy.
Sure.
You must know as a Canadian, everyone's looking at the States and pointing and laughing.
Yeah, I know. It's bad. It's bad that I'm a Canadian. I can't even go up there. I mean, I could go up there, but they're slapping me with the full 14 dayer. And, I got this beautiful little baby. My parents want to come see her, and it's just the whole thing is
well,
is
they
crazy.
They can go down there, but then when they return to Canada, they have to do
another. Yeah. So if you have parents at work, or, I had a younger brother, Brent, who him and his 3 daughters tried to plan a trip here in May, and then this all broke out. So most people just can't take the 30 days to quarantine, no matter where you're going. Right. So that's tricky.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we should let you go. You got a baby to look after and all that stuff.
What kind of T-shirt's that? The Great Lakes.
Great Lakes. This is a Flint and Tinder, I think, shirt.
Flint and Tinder. Is that in your basement there? Is that Raisin Bran? Is that a full box of Raisin Bran behind you?
That's actually, I'll get it. Close.
You eat that with almond milk? What do you put in there?
No, it's a box of Raisin Dan.
The Raisin Dans.
Yeah.
You've made it when you get your own Raisin Bran.
It's a bit we did on our show because I despise raisins so much that they made me pour a box of only raisins in my mouth for a Raisin Dan commercial.
Nice. Do you have any bobbleheads or?
No bobbleheads.
I got one bobblehead in my office there, but I am in my elevator. I'm locked in here right now too.
Which team did the bobblehead?
The Milwaukee Admirals.
There you go.
I was a legend back in Milwaukee.
Hey, you're a legend at all times. A legend of planning rookie parties.
I took pride in that, my friend.
I liked your self-depreciating humor on your podcast where you said, I think most teams just kept me around so I could plan the rookie parties.
I mean, Doug Armstrong, he would admit it. At one point we were in a meeting and he's like, guys, I need you, look around. You guys are in the NHL here. Look around, have some fun when you're here. And then he's like, look at Uppy. This guy's having fun every day. He's single. He's chasing it. He's got good looking girlfriends. And he's like, basically, can you all just act like Uppy for a while? Everyone's down and bummed. And he was speaking to a certain few guys on our team just to, the winters get long in St. Louis. So, I was always coming to the rink with a smile on my face and enjoying myself and trying to get guys to feed off that energy. And that's ultimately what sometimes your job is. And I take pride in that.
And did you ever run into Chris Chelios and compare stories? Because he kind of sounds like the same person where he could go out till 2 or 3, but he's the first one in the gym the next day.
I'm not even going to put myself in the same category as that guy. He's a legend, and he plays till he's 45 and he still looks like he's 25. Yeah. And he made a ton of dough and he's friends with a ton of rock star cool people. He's the man. So
he was on our broadcast crew when we worked for Fox at the Sochi Olympics. And one night he would be up till 3 or 4 in the morning every night, yet out the door for the gym at 8.
Yeah. No, that I can do. And I'm good at that. But it's,
the one night we wander up, he's like, hey guys, say hi to my buddy. It's Eddie Vedder on FaceTime.
It's badass, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Actually, I just had an Eddie Vedder hat on today, but I went to the Blues hat. Support my boys. In
classic Chelios fashion, we're taking a cab to a bar one night. He's telling a Russian cab driver who doesn't speak English how to get to the bar. We're like, Chelly, I think he knows. Because this guy doesn't. I think we all were drinking vodka.
Yeah.
The red wine in Russia, not Beluga, so good.
The Beluga vodka. That's what all the Russians I play with, they would drink that. It'd be in their bag. They'd have the little hotel one hitters. You get on the plane and their bags are like ting 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 ting. And you're like, how many of those hotel vodkas did you steal from the hotel?
Well, you see that
Russians like to drink, boy.
Russia supposedly developed a cure for COVID, but it's probably just a shot of vodka.
I would not take a COVID shot from any Russian dictator. There's not a chance. What they're let's just hope it works, because if it does, then maybe we can all take it and be good. But wow,
Exactly.
would I not be taking it if the Russians got first to the market with the old vaccine? I'm not lining up to do that. I'll let you go first, Dano.
Well, I think most vaccines have to pass through like 3 phases where you test the placebo and the actual vaccine or something. It's gone through no phases.
Yeah. No phase vaccine. No chance.
No phase.
We go right to market. Let's go. Yeah, no thanks, boys. I'm gonna pass on that. I'm gonna stay in my elevator. I'm just gonna chill out for a while. You guys let me know how you feel.
Scottie Upshall, one of the co-hosts of the Gone Missing podcast.
The Missing Curfew. The Missing Curfew podcast.
I thought it was called Gone Missing.
Gone Missing was our first episode, because there was a few boys that had gone missing in the playoff rounds there. So we had to, just because I was a guy, sometimes I went missing, so I can call a guy out here and there. So we've had fun with the old milk carton. You're gone missing.
And is it just gonna be until the hockey season's over? Or are you gonna do it?
We're enjoying, shooting the with each other. So we're gonna see where it goes. We think, hockey comes easy to us, talking about old stories, but we also want to bring on some guests who maybe not, who aren't exactly hockey players or athletes, but lifestyle guys, a ton of musicians around town that like the game, some golfers. We'll try to line up the guests eventually, but right now we're just shooting it with hockey and we're having fun with it. So it's good.
I love it, Scottie. Perfect avenue for you to pursue in retirement. And we thank you for coming on, and you can hang up now.
Awesome. Well, tell Jay I miss him.
Yeah.
Boys in Kelowna.
He's in the hockey player hotbed for the summer, Kelowna.
He is.
Where,
is he doing any? Is he wake surfing? What's he doing?
I don't know. I hope he comes back with a sleeve of tattoos, because I think you need to have a sleeve of tattoos to be in Kelowna as well.
Yeah, you do. You the same down here in Orange County. I lived both places, and very similar, but a lot of bikinis around there. Whether you got to get a tattoo or not.
Do you have
a lot of bikinis?
Do you have a sleeve of tattoos?
I do not. No.
Okay. Good.
No. Although I did jump on one of those jet foils, those electric motorized surfboards.
Yeah.
Yesterday, my buddy has a couple in the bay here, and I take it out first time ever. I've surfed a little bit, but I get beat up every time I go surfing. So these things, when you take off, it actually rises with you. You can go up like 4 or 5 feet. I put it on my Instagram yesterday. I was cruising, feeling good, cruising, had a couple beers, and wha-bam, I face plant into the water, and the thing tipped sideways. I just thrashed my elbow. But
I watched it. I didn't know that was you on it.
I'm here chatting with you today, so I'm all good. I'm doing real good.
Don't get a concussion from that thing.
No. I've been hitting the head a lot, Dan, in my day. But
okay, Scottie,
there's not a
miss
foil
you, buddy.
that's going to take me down. Thanks, bro. It was good to catch up.
Yeah.
See you, pal.
Talk to you.